Okay, here in a second, I'm actually gave my camera to my wife. My wife's going to be heading up this project, the fix and flip. So you're going to see her go to this fix and flip with our contractor and go through basically the whole house, lining out the plan. In fact, it's really important that we do this. And since she's going to be heading up this project, I need her insight with the contractor in order to get this budget. So this budget, again, I talked about it before. If you're going to do this, it's one of the most important things about fix and flips, because not only can it make or break you on the possible returns, or the money that you can make on the flip. In order to get hard money and to get enough, you have to have this whole thing line itemed out. So I think, a big lesson that we learn going forward is not only do we get more in detail about the budget, but also with this one, especially when it's finalized, after everything's done, like going through and actually writing down how much it costs to do a master bathroom, to add a shower, to add a bedroom, to do tile flooring at a certain square, price per square foot. So I'm going to let you watch my wife go through there with our contractor and just listen to her mind, how she's going to flip this thing. Again, we've sold our personal properties before, and she's always made us a lot of extra money. We've always had multiple offers because of the way that she can design and stage. And so I know that her thought process through this is going to help us make the most money. So if you want to hear exactly how her mind works, that's what we're going to hear next. And then we'll get that finalized budget. I'm going to send that into my hard money lender so that we can get that approved. I have to get that amount approved in order to close this thing. And once we start the projects, we're going to go off of that budget to get paid, to pay the contractors. And again, if you didn't catch it in the last episode, and just a reminder, if you're not following along, I'm actually going in kind of chronological order. So go back and start at video 1. Everything's explained, and then you can catch back up, because we have to actually follow this budget line by line, and then we cannot take the money before a project is done. So if we're going to get funded on, now we got to go in and replace all this drywall, tape texture, mud. I can't get money up front to pay that. I got to pay it either out of pocket and then reimburse myself with the draw process, or we have to wait till it's completely done. So these are conversations you need to have with your contractor. Hey, can you just float it until it's all done? And then what I can do is do the draw process. So I'm also, once we get the budget, I'm going to call the hard money.
Could you try again?
Shut up, Siri. I don't even know why that went off. I'm going to call the hard money lender, and this is going so fast. I feel like there's 800 things I need to do, but I need to understand this draw process. I know that it's after the work is completed, but I'm going to call him, and you guys, I'll just put the speakerphone on. You can hear exactly how a draw process works. And then once we get all of that, I'm going to calculate everything and actually do best case scenario. Screw talking about worst case scenario. Put it out there in the universe. Let's go. Ground up investing. What I want to do is actually take best case scenario numbers, budgets, everything, the interest payments, calculate it, and see how much we can actually make on this thing. So let's go check out my wife.
Let's do this.
On this one, we're doing regular shaker cabinets, right? With prefabs.
Prefab Earl thing.
I'm actually gonna do something. I wanna compare apples to apples.
Okay. What are you gonna do? What do you want to do?
What do I want to do? I want you to film that way.
Where isn't that? Oh, there we go. Okay. So, we're gonna make this. My husband told me how to do this. The 5th bedroom, because upstairs there's no room really. This will just be walled off. Figure out where to put the closet, and then this will come down. Still, this will be the dining room, and then obviously open all this up. This is the kitchen area. Take out all of this. I think this is just a great setup. I like the double doors outside. Paint that, get rid of these two, get our chandelier in here. from our house. This is the laundry room, or this is just gonna be what it is. And then, hey, what about having this be the door to the bathroom? Just because, like, can we do that?
So just look at the elevation.
Oh, shoot, hold on, nope, we can't. We can't do that
You have
because
different elevations.
the sink is right here.
Well, it's not just the sink, it's the different elevations. too.
Okay, so I think this will just stay the same.
I mean, we can possibly make it happen. We just gotta really
No, nope, I don't want to have to get into like all that.
place and everything.
What could we, so if this, we're leaving this because that's the bathroom. These are just gonna be closets, right? Like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. You see return right here? Yep. See
Turn, it's already a nice entryway. Let's go into the bathroom again. The master. No, that's fine. I think that I want to know what this was. Maybe a vanity. That'd be cute to do a built-in little vanity and have an opening for a chair that it can just get pushed back. Or do we take out this and do bathtub shower, shift it over, or shift it over this way like we did our last one, and moved everything there to make a bigger closet. I still want to decide on that. This is fine where it is. Fur down, obviously, but it is a little small. Wonder how we can make this bigger.
All right, stop. Did you see that lady that was in there real quick right at the end of that clip? So the hard money company, what we found out as well is they send in their own inspector to see how much they feel like the renovations will be. So I didn't know that as well. They're not just going to take your word for it, your contractor's word for it. They're actually going to send out their own people to inspect these properties as well. And then they'll be able to kind of look at both budgets and see. So I need to learn a little bit more about this. I was unaware of it. And then I'm wondering if their budget comes in lower or above ours, you know, what that means for our budget. So again, when I break it down in another video all through Zoom, that's going to get answered. But right now I'm a little bit unclear, but you will have, you know, leveraging hard money, you're going to have people coming in and making sure that your numbers and everything are correct. So they ain't just throwing money out there. There's a lot of money to be lent out to people that do these projects, but they're going to make sure that everything is calculated. All right, so we just went through there, or my wife went through there with the contractor. He sent over the budget. I'm just going to go over it with you. Now, I need to remind you that doing your first fix and flip, maybe it's not one that you want to do. And depending on your market, you know, $250 is cheap in a lot of markets, but here in Houston, it's not, you know, so much. So, you know, starting with the over 3,000 square foot flip is quite daunting, to say the least. Scary as shit. I don't know. It just feels like the bigger it is, the longer it can take, and then the more that can happen or whatever. But it doesn't matter. we're pretty pumped about it. And the original budget that he had, again, he went off a video and he's sick. So I'm like pushing him. And I kind of feel bad, but he's like, don't worry, I got this. You're good. But he was able to send it even over to me. And this was the budget. So cut and prep sheetrock, install insulation, and hang drywall, $8,650. Tape, float, and texture. So that's once we get all the drywall back in. Then it's preparing it, right? So these are separate, and they got to be line itemed out, because you can install the sheetrock and everything. And this is what I was, when I was picking the brain of the hard money lenders, like really separate things out. That way, let's say we get all this stuff done, then we can actually get paid on that full amount. Prime all new drywall, ceilings, and walls. Install new padding and carpet upstairs. So we're going to go with a carpet upstairs. 8,900. LVP flooring downstairs. He just put LVP, but basically price-wise, tile or LVP. I'm sure we're thinking actually probably going tile, and I think, that's what my wife was saying after this is all said and done. So for the entire lower floor, 10.5. New baseboards, 1,650. Prefab cabinets. Now, going through this, we talked about prefab. He did kind of mention he might go with custom. Not quite sure yet, just because of how quick he can get them compared to prefab. And then countertops for everything. 3 full restrooms will be upgraded with new tile, fixtures, toilets, and vanity. So that's the lights, the toilets, the vanities, everything. So that's going to be $23,000. Trash dump trailers will be provided. So he's going to do all the dump, clean out for cost or whatever for him for free. So we have a total budget now of $83,350. I do want to talk about something real quick. I think the most confident I could be about doing a flip came from meeting my contractor, right? So this was, we have other contractors we've used in the past. They took like 6-7 months to get a flip that it eats into your profit, and they have kind of random people that they assign. And I was actually with my business partner here in Houston, who, he's the real estate agent I talked about, Joe. And he was on the phone with a guy one day, and they were talking about a flip that he wants to sell, and he might have another one. And I was just overhearing it, and he's like, hangs up, and I'm like, who's that? He goes, oh, that's my contractor, right? He goes to my church, and I'm going to sell one of his flips. I'm like, what? And he said he's got more, and Joe's like, yeah, he said he's got more. I'm like, tell him I want them all, right? So again, I'm having these conversations every single day. My ears are actually tuned in now more to, like, if anybody's even talking about building plans, about real estate, about anything, I just ask them, you a real estate investor? Are you a realtor? Hey, do you got any off-market deals? I say it every day. So I asked them, this is crazy. I never in a million years would have done this in the past, right? And he goes, yeah, he's a contractor. I said, well, I'm thinking about doing a home remodel at my house. I've already got some contractors and some bids, but maybe I'll do one more. He came over within 2 hours of that day of when I called him, and gave me a budget just like the one we're seeing here for our complete remodel, and it included everything. And all of our other freaking budgets or quotes, we had to pay for the countertop, we had to pay for the plot, we had to pay for the flooring, we had to pay. So it was kind of like, okay, here's this much work we're going to charge you, and then you got to pay for everything else. And it's a mess that way, right? And that's the budgets that always seem to increase. So, he's been doing our home remodel, and he has been just knocking it out of the park. And he says he has 28 guys on payroll. So, like, he doesn't have to find guys. They're ready to go. And it is just a seamless process. And that's when it hit me, like, everything happens for a reason. Meeting this guy was, I wanted to do this real estate investing for 100 years, it feels like. And then finally this guy lands in my lap, a contractor who does it. And so this bid is everything included. The only thing that we would have to cover is the appliances. But we've got a bunch of appliances from this house because we're doing the renovation that we're just going to plug into there. So there might be a little bit of tweaking here and there. And if it is, it's probably coming from something extra we want to do. But we're going to stay pretty close to this $83,500 budget, as close as we can to it. So that's a massive number. Again, I want to leverage hard money so that I don't have to cover any of this. The hard money will pay my contractor as soon as these are done. And I actually want to do a full video breaking down budget, draw process, everything. I will get the hard money lender on a Zoom call, and I will break it down from start to finish, the draw process, the budget, explaining all of this. I have never seen that before. It's going to be very detailed, and it'll have you guys knowing exactly how this stuff goes. So I actually called the hard money lender a little bit ago, and it happened so fast when it called. I just turned on the camera, but you guys are going to hear it. So we'll listen to the draw process right now, and it's kind of a beginning level one, and then I'll do a better like explanation Zoom call one here soon, so that you'll get to see that. All right, sorry, dude. I was downstairs helping my kiddos real quick. Yeah, so Justin was saying you could kind of explain the draw process and everything for the rehab a little better.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So I'm the portfolio manager here at Quick Lending, but I also am in charge of the draw process. So I oversee budgets, inspectors, and fundings.
Okay.
So yeah, I can give you the whole breakdown. I'm not sure how much Justin has told you, but I could just run through it start to finish, just kind of like a brief overview to let you know what to expect.
Perfect. That works.
Yeah. So we have your budget on file, I believe. So once that's verified, we'll be working off the verified budget. In the first draw, you'll essentially send us. So in the closing packet, you'll get the draw request form. So that will essentially just confirm your wiring instructions and the amount you are going to request. We do have a minimum of $5,000 per request, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense with the fees for draw requests, and it would also, we just want to prioritize significant draws essentially for the process. So $5,000 minimum requirement. We get that request form, and then we'd also have in the body of the email the line items you're requesting, as well as the associated amounts that we correlate with the budget. I'd put that on the scheduler, and we have our inspector essentially go out to the site. Now, if you request, and you'll get all of this in your closing docs as well, if you request before Tuesday at 3, you're funded on Friday. And if you request before Thursday at 3, you're funded on Tuesday. So those are our two primary funding days, Tuesday and Friday, when the draw review committee meets to review all the draws for that funding scheduler. Okay. Any questions about those parts of the process?
Nope. Makes sense.
Okay, perfect. And then once we get the approval from the draw review committee, I build out the draw calculator, and that essentially breaks down any fees. So it'll just be a $155 draw inspection fee. There's a $30 wire fee, and then there is prepaid interest, which is variable depending on the amount you're drawing and is approved. So the net will just be the subtraction of those amounts. And if you'll get a copy of that calculator, the inspection report authorized by the draw review committee, and then you'll get a return of your draw request form just so you can see it from start to finish with the process.
Okay. Cool. What is a typical... So basically you've got to have, and I do, but good contractors who can start the job and get a lot of it done before getting paid is the name of this game, right?
So essentially we only fund on 100% completed line items, right? So typically we'll see some borrowers that, the roof is like one whole line item, right? So once they're done with the roof, they'll send us a draw request for the roof, and we'll send our guy out there. He'll get up on the roof and be like, yeah, this is done. And then we fund it, right?
Yep.
Where it gets a little bit tricky is regarding things like cabinetry and appliances, right? So we have had incidents in the past, right, where borrowers will have the pre-made cabinets on the property but not bolted into the wall, so to speak. Or they'll have the condenser on site but it's not installed. So even if it's on site, we need it to be like a fixture in the house. Because we have had incidents in the past where somebody will buy the windows, have the windows in the house. We fund them on the windows, and then they go sell the windows back and buy cheaper ones.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's not the type of asset that we're trying to put on the books. So once we see those things are fixtured and installed and 100% complete, we'll fund you on all of that.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So yeah, my guys will start most likely, next week, and after because it's going to be a lot of like replacing drywall, now doing the trim, getting the flooring and all that done. It's probably let them do a bunch of that stuff and then do a draw request of like, if that's 15,000, just do that and then pay them for that.
Yeah, I mean, if the line items you're requesting on are done, it doesn't matter. I mean, we've had borrowers that literally have done the entire budget and then sent one draw at the very end.
Right.
And then the house is done and we fund them on everything.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. That makes more sense. All right. So, and then when we close, obviously, there's going to be a full line item of everything we're doing and the cost.
Yeah, per the authorized budget that we'll have on file.
Yep.
I believe you should. Yeah, you'll have a copy of that. I'll have a copy of it, and we'll both be working off that in tandem. The only time when those changes are usually allowed on the budgets, as far as like reallocating line item cost, is in the first draw. Just because that's like, somebody tears down a wall and they're like, oh, holy cow, there's a lot more back there than we initially thought, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's perfectly understandable, and the committee understands that as well. So if there needs to be like reallocation of costs in the first draw, we'll look at that, and that's typically where we like to keep it. But once you're like down the road on the third or fourth draw, like moving line items around on the budget is not usually done.
Okay. All right. Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, it's my first time, so we'll figure it out as we go here. So it doesn't seem too bad, though.
Yeah, no, and my inspectors are very upfront and transparent about, what they're seeing, and we communicate with the borrowers, like if we're seeing something that looks a little off, we're not just going to like be like, oh, well, we're sending this to the committee. Like, obviously we'll be in communication with you, telling you like, hey, we're like, you're requesting on interior paint, but we're noticing some like splotching over here, or some parts that didn't get touched up over here. Like, do you think you can send us a completed photo of that? And then, like, yeah, we're working with you. Like, we're normal people. We're not trying to like set you up to not finish the project.
Okay, good. Alrighty.
Okay.
Cool, man. Well, I think that's about it. I appreciate your time, and yeah, I guess we'll know more and get this going Friday.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You have a good rest of your night, sir.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
So, not lesson learned, but you gotta, when you go into this too, you gotta realize that, and this is just this hard money lender. That's my job actually next, is to call some of these other investors that I use and see if they have the same kind of draw process, or, hey, I've done so many of these, man, they know I'm good for it. And so they just, they give me what I need. But you're not going to be able to just like upfront pay a contractor, which is good, because you got to be able to hold those contractors accountable. And one big mistake I made was buying a house in Tennessee a year and a half ago, trying to rely on this contractor out of state to handle way more than he could. And he basically walked off with, $15,000-$20,000 of my money, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So I know that's why they put this in here, because they want to see it done. They don't want to lend on this money and then nothing gets done, because at the end of the day, if you're not paying them back, they're out the money. So just know that you're going to be having to get some of this contract work done. And maybe, if a contractor needs a little bit up front to get going, or to pay for something, you might have to pay that out of pocket to cover it real quick. And then when you do your first draw, you can pay yourself back or whatever. But again, this is why I'm doing this, for you guys to see it. And it's Wednesday night now. I've been working on this all day, getting LLCs and everything set up, bank accounts, and all of it, and which, I'll continue to show you guys, so that you guys are way more prepared than I am, especially having a closing this fast. So, all right, everything is in. Let's go through best case scenario on the Flipperooski right here. All right, so again, I'm like, I can't believe this. So I talked to my hard money guy. He's so excited for me. He's the one who told me to just go in at 250 and tell him, let's lock it up right now. So that's a great lesson for us all to learn. Everybody out there is going to always try and get a little bit more, and a tactic might be, hey, we've got, multiple offers in. If you lose out on one, that's great. But again, being able to calculate your numbers is really important. I knew even if we had to go to 260, even possibly 270, like I still feel like there's pretty good room there. But we've talked all worst case scenarios, but best case scenario, if I'm just doing the math, $250,000 plus 80,000 in reno. So we'll do $80,000 in reno. And obviously, the math, I do too. You got $330,000. And let's say on the high end, we don't get $455,000, but we get $440,000. You're looking at $110,000. Now, of course, I've got to pay a monthly fee towards, and I do have to put money down, that $15,000 down or whatever. But that's also towards the total cost. So it's not like I lose that $15,000, but I do lose my monthly payments. So when I go to repay that loan back, that $15,000 that I put down, is minus the total loan amount, right? So, but I do have to cover that $3,000 to $3,500 a month, which, I can, and it's better than me using all of my cash up front. So let's say at 4 months, so we have $110,000. Let's say 4 months of 3,500, which is 14,000. So you're at 110,000, minus 14,000. We're at 96,000 right now. To sell it, if you get relationships, I have a real estate partner. My goal is to have him sell it at a 1%. So he'll make 1%. So if we sell it at 440, he gets $4,400. But he's obviously going to do a lot of these for me, and we have a lot of other business together. So making a good relationship with a real estate agent who isn't just cheap. Joe's also one of the best real estate agents out there, knows how to negotiate like crazy and knows how to market. But this is an added bonus that I have knowing real estate agents. But that would be $4,400. But the buyer commission here in Houston is 3%. So the agent that is representing the other side will get $3,000. So you've got 4% there of the total cost. So if it's $440,000 times 0.04, 17,600 in commissions. So we're at 96,000 minus 96,000 minus 17,600. You're at $78,400. So, that's kind of like best case scenario. Now there's other, little things that come up here and there in appliances, but we've got a real good shot at making $70,000 to $80,000 on this flip. And I think really low end, $40,000 to $50,000. But man, that is when you think about investing, right? So if I put my money, and I'm gonna put in $15,000 of my own, which goes to the down payment, I'll get back. So I'm basically paying the hard money loan at $3,500 a month. I'm gonna spend about $15,000 here, and you have the ability to make $60,000, $80,000 return. You're talking massive returns comparative to stock markets or any of that. So if I can recap $50,000 to $80,000, those I could go out and buy a few other properties to build my net worth. So I can't believe it. This is freaking it, guy. If you want to do this, you just got to start taking, you got to reach out to everybody. You got to talk to as many people as you possibly can. I've literally every day, I made it a goal of myself to talk to one person a day about investing. About, hey, do you have any properties? Do you know anybody who has properties? I'm looking to build my real estate portfolio. Everybody's been so open to it. I can't believe it. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with a gentleman who's in his 70s, and he has a huge referral network group. He has lived here forever. He knows everybody. And those are the type of people that may have 10 properties, 20 properties, and they're tired of renters. They've just had them too long. They'd like to get rid of those properties, and that's what I would love to get. So, man, just asking people about it has really opened a lot of doors, and I think it's what you just got to do. So, all right, and I just learned that $5,000 down is the earnest money deposit. So the earnest money is going to be $5,000, and I got to go get that. I got to go to the bank. I'm also going to, while I'm there, create a separate bank account to just track every single expense in here, so that my CPA, can track, or I know exactly what goes in, what goes out. So let's go. If you've missed day 1, 2, 3, any of the days, it's right here in this playlist. Go through and watch it. Again, it's the most detailed. You'll see building a real estate investment portfolio from the ground up. So check out that playlist right there.